Humankind has never had so much information. Our challenge now is to assess, compile, and use that information effectively. Tomorrow's competitive companies will be those that can foster and develop collaboration between individuals to create value. 3D Lean app will revolutionize how you collaborate. Fully collaborate with your body and mind. Remove distances and barriers. Co-construct, inspire, share tasks, and bring interaction and dynamism to your team meetings. Get everyone engaged and feel the power of collective intelligence. 3D Lean is inspired by key Lean principles. Forget reports. Forget endless emails. Spend less time preparing your meetings and more time taking action. Designed for optimal efficiency during your meetings, 3D Lean changes how you see decision-making, helping you identify problems together and finding ways to solve them. Reveal your collective intelligence to perform. 3D Lean. Be a team first.
Hello, my name is Tandy Banks. I'm an industry process consultant with Dassault Systems. I'm very excited today to be here sharing some information about how 3D Lean fits into our way of doing business and within the 3D Experience platform. I've been very fortunate to be involved in many organizations and watch how the somewhat abstract idea of Lean, how it gets implemented and practiced. Whether through well-organized whole company efforts or through individuals who have a humble understanding of Lean, it is something that can make a major impact on any business in any industry. During this session, we're going to look at one of our newest offerings on the 3D Experience Cloud called 3D Lean. I have wished for a tool like this for many years, and I'm excited to show it to you today. It's going to help us engage in meetings instead of just being spectators. I grew up in a rural environment where as a youth you learned to work. Building a fence was a fairly normal activity, and it involved a lot of repetitive motion. At the time I didn't realize it, but I was already lean-minded. I would spend the first hour or two just trying to figure out how to build or find something to help me do my job faster. There's a fine line between laziness and efficiency. Like many of us, I was first officially introduced to lean concepts in my late teens, early 20s, when a professor pointed me to the Toyota production system and to Jim Womack's The Machine That Changed the World. That was just a springboard that got me to examining my experiences and how I tackled work in my early career. I struggled at times with the terminology and some of the more detailed aspects of TPS. And although I understood the implications of using statistical models like Six Sigma to indicate performance, I really felt like focusing on the base concepts seemed to be a better fit for me. To me, Lean is more about low-hanging fruit and continuous improvement, finding quick, attainable changes that can be made small impacts, and then keep doing them in succession so that way you make a greater improvement. I also discovered that Lean is really an attitude, and for organizations, it's a way of doing business. Not a set structure of programs or a long list of vocabulary. Trying to get the work done well with the least amount of effort possible. That's Lean thinking. Lean is about maximizing value, eliminating wastes, and the continuous improvement towards these goals. Here's a part of 3D Experience world it seems that I'm most likely surrounded by similarly minded people. We gather year after year in pursuit of finding better ways to go about the work that we love. As we adapt into this new form, our event is improving. We're finding ways to gather while we're being separated. We're finding ways to better utilize our tools and collaborate no matter where we sit. I hope that you agree that 3D Experience is a Lean thing. Developing a platform that brings all of our tools into one space, easily accessible and using the same information. We have so many examples of how great tools and products help us to be efficient and share data easily. And I hope you're able to discover those this week during the conference. Understanding and identifying waste are important aspects, so let's expand a little on what these look like. Defects are easily quantifiable and is the area that Six Sigma tends to focus on. Reducing variation and eliminating defects is the goal of any quality system, We understand in production settings that this creates bad parts that have to either be reworked or thrown out. And all waste are costly, but defects is one that usually has a direct and accountable cost. In the office environment, defects can be bad or missing information. Business decisions based upon defective information has a direct cost too. Overproduction is making more than when you need at a time. Many companies have a system of build to stock, and they base that upon past performance and orders. As we saw this year, there are always some variation that could cause overproduction to be a real liability. Although on the other hand, having a few rolls of paper in the warehouse or on the shelves wouldn't have been a bad thing. Overproduction for engineering might look like producing a design that doesn't have any customer demand. Transport is a necessary waste in many companies, but we really try to minimize it. We look at transport of goods on the front end with raw materials, in process as semi-finished goods that travel between plants, and then the delivery to distribution through end use. Some industries and products can be built near the point of use, but so many others have to find a minimal amount of transport in order to stay lean. Inventory is similar to overproduction, but it's the amount of goods that are needed in your production buffer to support the proper flow of production. On the surface, these wastes seem very simple, but get very complex when dynamics like balancing customer demand, production time, and vendor requirements for input material. Motion is the personal movement that it takes to complete tasks. In production settings, we measure and quantify the movement. We often take on improvement projects just to reduce the movement. Things like moving equipment and inventory stores close to where workers are to reduce the movement as much as possible. But do we look at the office the same way? Our departments in close proximity to allow for easy collaboration. Our meeting spaces or other needed facilities close by. And now that we are working from home so much, are we studying different types of movement there? How about the time spent browsing folders and files or within data silos just to find the information that we need? We could think about this one as, do we have what we need easily accessible to be the most productive? Waiting. Waiting on products, waiting on information, waiting on decisions, waiting on meetings to start, and waiting on meetings to end. In Lean, the expectation is to stop right at the customer's expectations and nothing more. Better than adequate quality. How can something be too good? If the customer's needs are met somewhere before the product is complete, then the excess effort and cost is waste. For many decades, competition in the marketplace has fostered a sense of above and beyond as a necessary method to gain or hold customers. But extra processing is a waste if no additional value is realized. Non-utilized potential. This is one of the hardest ones to measure. This is team members who could be contributing at a higher level but haven't been exposed yet. This is unspoken ideas or improvements. Whether by dogma or fear, resistance, or negligence, these untapped potentials are serious wastes. In meeting, this waste could look like an extra people that are in the room that really could be productive elsewhere. These are 8 of the known wastes that are very evident in most industries, but you likely have other specific wastes related to what you do. Be mindful of them, as it's important that we strive to reduce and eliminate as much as we can. The main subject of this presentation is how to have better meetings. Think about some of the meetings you attend regularly, both currently and the way they were way back in the old days of 2019. The common consensus is that most meetings are not very productive. This is time. There's time wasted preparing for meetings, attending meetings, and then frequently there's some kind of post-meeting that happens whenever a subgroup gets together and tries to figure out what just happened. We can make a long list of all the wasted time situations that we've had in past meetings, but here are a few of the common culprits, and you're probably all nodding and cringing. So let's talk about a few more of the challenges that our teams face before we jump into the details of 3D Lean. Teams are more disconnected today than ever before. Using our technology tools to maintain relationships when we can't meet in person is necessary. We've even seen some teams become more productive during this time when physically disconnected, but they are working hard to stay connected through other means. We are definitely working in a complex environment and in a complex time in history. Simplifying your team's activities is going to be essential to focus on the efforts and keep everybody on the right goals. As industries evolve and we employ younger workforces, it becomes important to engage all levels of team members to maximize our resources. Great ideas can come from all roles and all levels of our team engagement. Too much data? Wow. There is so much information out there, and being able to filter the important pieces is a big daily challenge. Using visual data that is timely and understandable will be one of the tools that can help you springboard and become a successful team. Exercising lean thinking throughout your team will invoke positive change that can really impact organizational performance. The world has changed so much in the last 5 years. I mean, just think about what's happened in the last 9 months. And sticking with behaviors that have been accepted in the past is a good way for an organization to become history. On the subject of behavior, it will take some practice to sustain meaningful change. By engaging all team members and helping them to understand what's important, it can create a team that not only works better for the team themselves, but for your customers, both internal and external. Engage, practice, get better with the tools that we are showcasing here at 3D Experience World, practice, and evolve. This process cycle will create positive results, I promise. The purpose of 3D Lean is to engage, reveal, and improve. Engaging team members. There's only one role for Lean Team Player, and all team members are peers. Everyone has the ability to add and edit. Because this app is on the 3D Experience platform, all team members can connect from any device, from anywhere. Reveal the information in visually rich ways so that team members can clearly understand. And improve. I mean, this is the goal of Lean, is to continually improve. Let's take a look at some of the tools within 3D Lean that help us have engaging meetings that are easy to adopt. Sticky notes have been around and used in meeting rooms and offices to visually represent information, problems, and actions. We have those in 3D Lean too. We have colors that can help us represent different categories so that you can easily communicate with your teams. Stickers are helpful to help us emphasize or just to mark what we're doing. 3D Lean's built-in library is great, and you can also add your own so that way you can best communicate with your team. Sketching with your mouse, stylus, or your finger on a touchscreen is a great way to bring the handy aspects of whiteboards into the digital space where all team members can engage. This flexibility helps this app be great for all teams. We can use graphical templates to help guide the discussion and provide a structure that is very effective. Like stickers, you can add your favorite formats that can be shared as templates for all team members. I've always felt that each meeting should bring at least one opportunity for improvement and at least one action to be considered a successful activity. Raising problems and developing actions are important functions within 3D Lean. And we have special labels and sticky notes, and we have a log dedicated for each. I'll show you in a moment how team members can be assigned to those as well. Before I jump deeper into 3D Lean, I want to highlight that training is also available today through the My.SolidWorks learning platform. You can log in or sign up at my.solidworks.com and search for Lean Team Player. So I've pulled up a board here so that we can get better acquainted with what 3D Lean, the app, does for us. If you look over on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, we have toolbars that are mostly identical. This is what was shown in the intro video that allowed multiple team members to gather around that large screen TV and be able to interact directly in the same environment, or if they were doing that digitally with distributed teams. I'm going to start off in the middle here with Customize. What this allows you to see is that when we create a new board or we're editing a board, we have a lot of different lean jets. That's the functionality here on the left hand side that allows us to put that functionality out into the different areas of the board. Our default board is going to have a grid of 9. We also have the ability to split that up into a grid of 16. But you can see, working from the top, we have the ability to have a sketch area. This is that whiteboard type environment where we can place a background that might be a format to help guide the structure, or it could simply be a blank page that will allow us to be able to build ours on the fly as needed. KPI, these are our key performance indicators. I'll take a look at one of those here in a moment. PDF viewer, that should be pretty obvious. Our team board, we're able to put one team board in our lean board, the top level, and we're able to assign team members to that have access, as well as those that might need to be utilized a little later whenever I show you things like our production unit Flash 5 meeting. We have a player to allow us to play videos, a web page viewer. This will also allow us to do some neat things like expose the rest of the 3D Experience platform within our 3D lean board through this lean jet. We're allowed to put one 3D play viewer that will allow us access into our 3D models, 2D files, anything else that we can utilize the 3D play app within the 3D Experience platform. We can have one application log and one problem log. These are all special aspects where we put one of those per board. You can see out on the screen there, I've got several. 3D play is pretty obvious. I've got a PDF viewer down here below that's pretty obvious. But some of these are just other boards, whether they be a grid of 9 or a grid of 16, that allow us to be able to subdivide our boards and be able to make that accessible and usable for a lot of different functions. Below that is documents. We can select on documents and look at our library. You'll notice that at the upper left hand here we have a plus sign allowing us to add any of our own pictures, templates, and what we call favorites into our environment. So you can see several of the pictures that I've got uploaded here into this board allow me to be able to access those in the different areas of the lean jet. Note templates, these are for sticky notes. So that way if I wanted something like a last accident, I can note that easily using a format within the sticky note. Again, plus sign to add those as needed. Sketch templates, these are those formatted structured backgrounds that will help us expedite or at least communicate better the type of activity that we're doing. Things like the Ishikawa diagram used for problem solving, or the 5 Whys, 5W2H for some of our hardcore lean folks. But then we have things like work organization, one of my favorites. PDCA, SWOT. What are your strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats? These are analyses or tools that have been used many industries, a lot of different times over the years. Project charters for those that are doing project management within the system. EHS for environment, health, and safety. A lot of different ways that we can utilize this tool to communicate efficiently in our meetings. I mentioned PDF viewer. Here's our stickers, where we can upload our stickers for our library, and then the favorites. What these favorites do is they're XML files that allow us to customize the look and feel of certain lean jets. Things like how sketches work, KPIs, web viewer, player, action log, and so on. So that's our document area. If I scoot back up to the top, this is a meeting function. This allows me to be able to select different segments of my boards or boards themselves that I want to sequence in order to be able to activate a meeting. I can set a time. I can start placing which of the different aspects that I might want to cover. Always want to at least cover the action log, usually towards the end. And then whenever I click on the play button, it kicks me into an environment where it's much like a slideshow, but it's interactive, so that way we could work with any of the problem logs, take a look at the shop floor diagram, and then finish up with an action log. So I'm ready to close out of the meeting. Can go back, hit the stop sign. We're back into our interactive environment. The meeting tool is great. Again, it got a timer, set agenda, so that way as we're working through and interacting with our different aspects of our board, that we're able to kind of stay on track. And then finally, our tools area. I want to take a look at that. Let's hop in on 3D Play for a moment. If you're not familiar with 3D Play, it is an app within the 3D Experience platform that allows us to be able to view and interrogate models. Great if you're doing something like a product design review. Maybe we want to come in and separate out some of this model so we can start exploding it, much like, say a digger tool would be in the Composer, but being able to separate out the model without affecting the engineering data, but at the same time looking at the engineering data. Really, really great aspect. One of the things I love about the 3D Experience platform is we're all looking at the same data. We're all looking at the same information. We can dig into the aspects of this as needed. But maybe while we're looking here at the 3D Play window, maybe we want to start making some notes during our meeting. So sticky notes are found underneath the tools, and we have the ability to draw with our stylus or over here with the pen. Take a look at the keyboard, and maybe I want to be a little bit cleaner on this, and maybe we want to ask a question. Is the cylinder large enough? We can set that as a regular note. We can create it as an action or a problem. We don't know it as a problem at the moment, so we'll just cover it as a note. Creates the note out on the window for us. And we can make things like edits to the note, increase or decrease its size, or delete it if need be. Let's increase this a little bit, move it over a little closer to where we want it to be. If we just want to grab a snapshot of this and maybe incorporate it into a 3D swim post, we can come over and choose to invoke the snapshot area. We can do any additional markups as needed. And then we can take a snapshot of that, which will capture that in our documents library. Any of the markups that are made during the snapshot will be dismissed as soon as we get finished with that snapshot. So as we're sitting here talking, we might decide that we want to go ahead and assign an action associated with this. The color coding I mentioned earlier, we can modify so that way we've got, say standards for our actions are this purple color, and we could say perform analysis on cylinder rod. And we want to create that as an action. That'll come up a little bit later in our discussion. Then taking a look at 3D Play for a moment, let's dig into an aspect of 3D Lean that was kind of foundational, and that was enabling meetings like our Flash 5 or our Flash 30, which are traditional Lean meetings wherein the Flash 5 is performed typically the beginning of the shift, wherein all of the members of a production unit would gather and they would discuss metrics, they would discuss safety aspects, and they would all get on the same page for the work for the day. So a couple of things here that we'll look at is we've got a layout of the work area, and that's as a sketch picture. And then we've also got our team board. Team members can check in whether they're present or maybe absent for the day. One of the buttons I've been utilizing here and not pointing out is the ability to cycle between being in a specific cell of the board or zooming back out to a level, including all the way to a home button where we can get to multiple boards. But if we want to start assigning the work or taking a look at the area, we can get into the specific cell where our work area is defined, and then we can utilize the tools. Not only do we have eNotes, but we've also got the team. So as we see team members represented, maybe today I'm going to come over and work in a given cell. So I'll select myself, maybe place where I'm going to be. Same thing for my team members. We'll assign some work. Maybe we're all cross-trained and we're able to work in multiple positions. Likewise, I mentioned earlier, we may want to identify an area or a safety concern. So during our Flash 5 meeting, we get an area that's brought up. Maybe we want to do a markup. And maybe this area right here has been an area of concern. We can utilize our sketching tools. We can utilize our stickers. And then we're able to capture that as a snapshot, maybe assign those to a problem ticket. All right. So utilizing the tools, doing some sketching, using stickers, assigning team members, all done through our tools area. I mentioned that problem. Maybe we want to switch over to a different color and assign that drips on the floor need to be checked. Maybe we've got a leaky condensation duct above the work area. But that's a problem that needs to be addressed. On that specific sticky note, we may want to give a little bit more information, a little bit context. And so in that context area, we can add the content. So that way our markup can be paper clipped to that particular area. We also have the ability to draw additional sketching on a whiteboard just to give some additional information or context to the particular problem. All right, so we've got the work assigned. We have identified a problem this morning. We can do things like maybe there's a daily work schedule and we need to look at the different aspects, do some assignment, again, check in. Maybe we're looking at, we've worked Tuesday now. This is a board not uncommon like you'd see in a production unit wherein we're trying to assign work or bubble up any ideas to move forward. We have the ability to link to outside sources. So that way if we've got spreadsheets or maybe working with the Delmio Works team, got some really great examples from others that are doing real-time production data and having that feed into their 3D Lean boards. Gives a great ability to be able to see that real-time data. And then likewise, I've got the rest of my 3D Experience platform up here, wherein if I need to do something like switch over to a different role, maybe pick up one of my X apps to finish doing a design review, we could switch over to X Design and have that available for us right here within a LeanJet in our 3D Lean board. KPIs are available to be able to specify different metrics. Any of the LeanJets, once we've placed them, we can use the Customize button to go into the details about that specific LeanJet. We may want to set target colors for above and below, work weeks, our target value, give some information about the specific KPI. So we're covering metrics, we're covering other KPIs that may be available. We have access to the rest of our 3D Experience platform. Our team's checked in. We know what work needs to be done. We've even identified a problem. Great time. Motivate the crew and get to work. A Flash 30 or possibly a problem-solving meeting, might be structured as something like an Ishikawa diagram. Maybe that problem has been identified and we need to understand how to work through, whether it's a manpower issue, machine environment, methods, and materials. If you're not familiar with the Ishikawa diagram, it's just a tool that allows us to be able to get to kind of the root cause or the heart of the matter and be able to work through those problems. If we wanted to use a different tool, we could simply edit, choose a different one of the diagrams that might be utilized in our problem-solving board. Mention the problem log. Anytime that we create a sticky note that is a problem, it's set over into our problem log by default. Gives us the ability, whether that's setting in a waiting area, whether we need to assign responsible party, identify actions, and whether we've closed that. So that way we've got a loop or a process. This is that rich visual data that we're able to communicate clearly with our teams, problems, and actions. Similarly, on the action log, if we've got anything that has has some work that needs to be performed on it. Mentioned earlier that perform analysis on the cylinder rod. So we need to take a look at that today. That might be impacting the performance of our product. So it's pretty high priority. We can go over and pick up our team, and Christian's been nice enough today to decide that he's going to be the one assigned to that. So simple drag and drop of Christian's icon over onto the action has now assigned him to that work. If we need to make changes to that, we can simply choose to edit, and maybe Christian is no longer the one that needs to be the one responsible for that. We can simply remove him. But we have that ability to assign problems and actions as well as team members to each of those. Maybe we need to check in today and understand that performance-wise, we've got our safety incidents. Yesterday was a good day, so we can go ahead and mark those as a good day in green, and then we can update information utilizing external forms to keep everything nice and tidy. If you ever walked around a shop floor, you'll see a lot of these type of aspects that are shown on those static hardboards, but now we move that over into the digital realm, so that way we can better utilize the data, communicate, engage team members, and have them interact and be a part of the solution. I hope that today you've learned something about Lean and will be mindful about waste. Lean is an attitude and a way of doing business. 3D Lean can help you improve your meetings and engage your teams. Lean Team Player is a role on the 3D Experience platform that will give you access to the 3D Lean app. Thank you for attending today's session. I look forward to your questions, engaging with you offline, and I hope you have a great conference.